everyone. I'm not exactly sure where to look. I'm using a different camera and somehow it's not working well. Anyways, let's have an August wrap up. I had a good or meh reading month. I don't know. I had a mixed reading month. I had a very bad, well, not so bad video making month. I uploaded a reading blog and 2 separate reviews, so I talked about most of the books I read already. I didn't upload anything else other than my letter to August, but I think that's okay. So let's get right into the books. We'll start with the books I talked about in the reading wrap-up. One of those is Ente and Krete, which is the second book in the Samonia series by Walter Moers. I read it in German, and it's the follow-up to 13.5 Lives of Captain Blue Bear. And it doesn't have anything to do with Captain Blue Bear. It's set in the same world, and the narration is sort of a fairy tale relating to Hansel and Gretel. And it was tedious and boring. I thought there were a lot of things that he used and literary devices that were overdone. So I'm not completely in love with the writing. And I got bored by the story. But it's rather short, so I wanted to finish it to continue with the series because I still want to read more of the books. The other book I talked about in the blog is Sweet Bean Paste, and this I really enjoyed. It's a story of a middle-aged man who has a sweet bean paste shop or a pancake shop, and one day this old woman comes and wants to help him and work, but there are troubles and things where he's not sure if that's okay because she has disfigurements. And this is a book of a story, part of Hansen's disease and its treatment in Tokyo, but also about the two people coming together, building a friendship, also talking about the meaning of life or the position, the meaning a life has to society, apart from just being a productive part of society. I really enjoyed this. I still haven't watched the movie. I found it available here, so I need to do that. It's supposedly also very nice. The last book I talked about in the reading blog is The Space Between Us, which is the story of a young man in his life as a part 1 childhood, part 2 is being married, part 3 is being a widower. And it's looking at his life in Iraq as an, was it Albanian immigrant? I'm not exactly sure anymore. I should have looked that up. Anyways, in the reading blog I talk more about that and the position in this close-knit community, and also looking at the power or the place women play in this community and traditions and everything. So it's very much a commentary on women and their position and their life, but told from a male perspective, even though the author is female. I do a much better job of talking about this book, which I really enjoyed in the reading blog, I promise. The Unfortunates also got a separate video review, which I recommend watching because I go into more detail with also the design of the book, because it came in a box and the chapters or the parts of the book can be read in a random order. Only the first and the last part need to be read as first and last. The in-between parts can be read in any order you want. And the book tells the story, or it's a memoir of the author losing a friend to cancer and remembering him and their friendship on a day that he goes to this one town, which triggers the memory of this friend. And it is a commentary of how fragmented memories are, how disordered, how out of context, how false they can be. And this is represented in the design of the book. I overly enjoyed the design and the thoughts that went into how to read it and how to comment on the way the book is written, on the content of the book. The story itself or the life of those friends is rather boring. There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job also got its separate review. It's a wonderful book. I really enjoyed it. And you know, I'm struggling with my work situation right now, so this was very entertaining and also grounding. Is that a word I'm looking for? I don't know. This book follows a young woman who had a burnout and now is looking for a job. So the chapters are different jobs she has and gets recommended by her job agency. And I must say, I would like to have her job agent because she's doing a good job at finding jobs for her that she actually can do. And It's very interesting. The jobs that she takes are somewhat ridiculous, but it's also interesting to see her work in those places. And it's rather interesting to see her get invested, but also trying to protect herself from getting overly involved again to prevent another burnout. And she's going through all these strange jobs that feel weird and strange and also very mundane. It's hilarious at parts. It's heartwarming at others. I enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the reading of it. I enjoyed watching her go through this process and trying to deal with work life and what it means to her. Can highly recommend it. Now, there are two more things that I read that I haven't talked about yet. One of which is a story collection, or rather two novellas by William Gay. And I really enjoy William Gay's writing. His use of words is amazing, his play with words, but also the way he creates this gloomy, overcast atmosphere from the first sentence on. He describes normal people in rural settings rather on the hardship and poorer side of life. And the events are not grand, but captivating. You get really sucked into these people's, into their stories, and you often find dark twists and turns going around in these lives. It's a very dark and gloomy mood that his writing creates for me, and I kind of feel comfortable there, so I can highly recommend picking up William Gay. This collection I liked okay. I think maybe the novels are better to start. I don't even know if I made videos of those that I read. I'll check and leave the links in descriptions if I did. Which brings me to the last book I read, or rather novella, which was 7 of Infinities. And this was hardship. It was 115 pages and it took me over a week. I know, I usually read more with that. And I was on vacation when I started it. So I don't know if it was me, because I found myself in a funk in the last week of August with nothing actually capturing me, getting my attention, or gripping me. So I was stuck in this book where I didn't like the characters. It's set in a world that I genuinely like, but I couldn't get my mind to understand the words. I kept rereading the same sentences. There was something about the writing that seemed different to her normal books. I've read quite a few books of Aliette de Bodard, and I usually like them, so I don't know what's wrong with this book, or if it was me that wasn't interested in the murder mystery, that wasn't interested in the characters, that wasn't interested in this strange relationship between the mind chip and this teacher. Nothing really got me, and it took me forever, and it left nothing behind. So I don't know if I want to recommend it or say it's just me. I don't know. Oh, I lied. I have another physical book to talk about, and that's this one. I tried it. I gave up. I started reading it and I kept thinking, this is the story where we always talk about we need to hear these stories. We need to listen to these stories. Basically, it's the story of a prostitute that has been murdered and her story. But I couldn't get interested. Everything about it was just, yeah, okay, I'm reading it, but I don't care. So I kept having it in my bed so I could read it, and I didn't. I kept reading other things all the time. So by the end of the month, I decided, since I'm in a funk anyways, I'm going to stop reading this and put it aside after 4 chapters, 5 chapters. I have no idea. 70 pages in with 300 something book. I think that's enough chance of a book to give. I don't know if it's her writing. I'm willing to try other things by her, because I heard other people say that this is not one of her best books. So maybe it was just the wrong book to start. I have one more thing to talk about, and that's audiobooks. Well, one audiobook. I listened to Don Quixote, and I listened to the English translation because that was available for free. Let's be honest. I saw that and I thought, let's give it a try. You might remember that I started reading the German translation of Don Quixote a while ago and put it aside with the intention of picking it up again later. I don't even remember when that was. Could have been years now. Anyways, the audiobook worked wonders. The translation I really enjoyed. It brought the characters to life, the humor, the words, the play with words especially, and the funny side of it. I didn't know that Don Quixote was such a funny book. I always thought of it that it's this book about the madman fighting windmills. That's the thing I know about the book. I didn't know that it also contained other adventure and love stories. I didn't know that it was such a commentary on writing books and consuming books and authors and translations and in general bookish content, which was very interesting to read. I really enjoyed the separate parts, the things that the book does, the things that the characters do, the things that the author does. But overall, the audiobook was 36 hours. And at some point, it got tedious and boring. I found myself not caring enough about Don Quixote and Sancho Panza to really want to know what's going to happen next. I found some of the things that happened repetitive and over and over and over going on about the same points, which got boring. So I did enjoy it. I think it does amazing things, and it's probably something, if you read it in school or in university and you get to talk about all the different plot points and the things the book does, it's amazing to analyze. But reading it and really getting invested and enjoying it, I don't think it lasts for the whole book, sadly. Anyways, I can still recommend it. If you have an Audible membership in the US, it's part of the membership program, so you could listen to it for free as well. And that was everything I read. And everything I did? No, probably not. Anyways, let me know in comments how your August reading was or how your August was in general. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.